Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Coffee with Chris. Today, I will be telling you a little bit about what I'm about to do today, I guess will be the primary subject. Because today, I'm going out to look at an apartment. It's a little weird, because it's not actually an apartment for me. I'm helping a classmate in place of her parents, because her parents live really far away and she's still young. You know how it is. If you've ever gone to look at your first apartment, you want a friend or family member or something like that to go with you, at least in a lot of cases. I'm sure there are a bunch of people out there who are extremely independent and who don't need an quote-unquote adult to go with them. I know I did. I mean, even when I went to look at this apartment, which I moved into just less than a year ago, meaning that I moved in when I was 27, I still brought my mum. I mean, it never hurts to have someone who's slightly more experienced in the matter join you. And so that's what I'll be acting today. I'll be acting the experienced person. Because when it all comes down to it, I do know what to look for, at least a lot of the things. And I'm keeping a mental checklist, because otherwise I'm going to forget it. I was thinking about writing it down, but, then I'll just forget the note. And if I write it down on my phone, I'll forget that it's in there. So I'm kind of practicing instead for myself. What do I need to ask? What do I need to check? And this is the place where if I had a bunch of subscribers, I would ask you people to tell me what to check in the comments, and then a bunch of people would comment within the first few hours, and I'd be able to read that and go off of it. So that would be another benefit of growing this channel and actually getting people to listen, which is another reason to do it and another reason to keep going. I have been going on for a week now, and if I do say so myself, I'm rather impressed. Not so much with the podcast itself, because, for example, I say a lot, and I need to practice not doing that. I also tend to talk in certain patterns, and those can be very annoying to some people. So that's another thing I gotta practice not doing. And there's a lot of practice in general. I need to get used to a lot of things. And that's fine. I don't mind that. It just takes a while. And so I'm not super impressed with the quality, nor am I impressed with the content, because it is what it is. And this is exactly what it's supposed to be. It's not going to be something that I'm super proud of having done. It's not something I've put a bunch of work into. You know all of these things already if you've listened. And I almost guarantee that at this point, if you're listening to this, you probably listen to some of the rest as well. Because otherwise, why would you be here? I know I often sound a bit self-deprecating in regards to the content and quality of the channel, but honestly, I'm not looking down on myself. I'm really not. I'm not judging myself for doing it poorly. I'm simply leaning into the fact that I'm not putting in a whole lot of work. I literally just sit down every morning and talk into the microphone while I enjoy my coffee. Anyway, See, there I said again, and I immediately caught it because I catch it right away. But moving on. At school today, I will be 3D printing for the first time. Possibly. I made a model only to then realize that model is probably unusable for 3D printing, because I'm used to modeling things in order to look good on a screen. So you render an image and then you get, you work with lighting, you work with textures, coloring and skin and such. And then you get a really good picture. Possibly you get a moving image, which, a video really. But it's all on the screen. It doesn't need to be physical. That means that among other things, you can just stick items into other items. You don't need to think too much about it. If you have a pipe going into the wall, you can just stick it through the wall, because no one's going to check on the other side. Of course, you wouldn't do this if you were doing it for like video games, for example, or anything that needs to be optimized. You would try to avoid this. But generally speaking, it's not that big a deal, and you wouldn't merge it with the wall. You wouldn't put those two things together. You just stick it slightly through the wall, basically a few pixels through the wall, so it's just barely there. You don't waste resources, but you don't have to put in extra work to put them together. That's pretty common. But in 3D printing, that's illegal, so to speak. If you do that, it will mess up your print, and so you have to be better. I am not better. I haven't touched 3D programs since 2020, apparently. I just went back into my messages with an old friend, and I remember the last thing I made, I sent it to her. That was 2 years ago. And I was never really that good at it to begin with, especially because 2 years ago I worked mostly with physics simulations and such. I worked with something called a node system that can modify your models. So, for example, the last thing I made was I turned a flat plane, which is it's just a square. It's a flat square. I turned that into a mountain range with water and stuff just by modifying it. I didn't model anything. I didn't pull anything. I just modified. And that actually looked kind of cool. And I also did smoke and fire simulations and things like that. I did some particle effects in general, made water, flowing water, real flowing water. It looked great and I was pretty good at it. But at that time, I was also just getting back into it, so I mostly followed tutorials. And I was just reading a lot. I wasn't really doing much on my own. Before that, however, I did used to play around with it. But that was back in 14 or something. So the truth is, I haven't really modeled in, well, closer to a decade than I like to admit. And so I didn't do a very good job. It was decent, and my classmates, well, my group mates were really proud of me for the work that I'd done. But as it turns out, it's not 3D print friendly, and so I'm not sure I can make it 3D print friendly, honestly. I don't know if I'm that good, especially because of the kind of model that I've made. I'm not sure. I'm not really... I'm gonna try. I think as soon as I hang up on this podcast, as soon as I finish, I'm gonna try. Mostly because I have an hour extra today. I woke up at 5 a.m. just to have that extra time. I do enjoy being able to take my time in the morning, especially taking my time talking to you guys. No, the episodes will not be getting any longer. I will keep them at around 15 minutes because that's how long it feels kind of natural to me. Sometimes I could talk for longer, but I also want to, establish or make sure that if someone ever listens to these, they are bite-sized. You can actually listen to them. You don't have to spend an entire hour listening to me rambling. You can just do it 15 minutes at a time. And it would be different if I released a weekly podcast of some level of quality, but given the format that this has, it's not fair if it lasts an hour. I don't think anybody would want that. If anyone actually wants to listen, I imagine that this is what they'd want. Relatively short, concentrated videos that are uploaded often. Also, I think the algorithm really likes it, doesn't it? I'm not actually sure. I'm definitely not expecting the algorithm to make me go viral because I'm not that interesting. But I do think the algorithm actually enjoys that the videos are more than 10 minutes and that I upload daily. I think that makes me look good in the eyes of the mathematics. But what that actually means for my channel's growth is another question, because I see this getting a lot of impressions, but not really any views. Like, the algorithm is going to like it, so as I have more and more episodes, when I get more and more episodes, I will get shown to more and more people in random instances, but many of them will look at it and then move on, or maybe just click it, listen for 5 seconds and then move on. So that's probably going to very negatively affect my rating in the eyes of the algorithm. And you know how YouTube is. YouTube is governed by the algorithm. So let's see what happens. I don't know. It's going to be interesting, at least, to find out where I can go with this. And one day I'll have hundreds of episodes. Even if no one has listened to them, I'll still have hundreds of episodes. And I can use it to go back into my own life and listen to how I was, what I felt, what I did. It's kind of like a diary. A diary of where I've been, who I've been. Because I was thinking the other day that this summer I'm planning on going to Canada for a month or two. And I mean, what am I going to do with the equipment? I think I can bring my microphone, actually. I'm hoping that I can. I can bring my... So it's actually a really basic setup. It's a microphone. It's a thing that the microphone is in so that it doesn't... I can tap the thing and move it and stuff and it won't make noises. It still makes noises when I do anything near the microphone, but you'll hear a clunk every now and then, and that's just me putting down my coffee mug. I should probably put it down a little more gently so it doesn't bother you. Then again, if you were next to me, you might hear it. So we're circling back to the whole point of a type of intimacy that's a little different. Because I really want intimacy. For you guys, for anyone out there listening, I want to provide intimacy. That's why you hear me slurping. That's why you hear me put it down. That's why I do these as one takes. Because I want to simulate us sitting next to each other. And, well, I know I'm the only one talking, but that's where the comments come into play. That if anyone has anything to say, any question or something, they should just put it in the comments, and I'll try to reply to it in a future episode. And given the fact that my episodes come out daily, well, I said this in an earlier episode, and I'm gonna say it again, that if you do comment this early on, I'm probably not gonna see it right away. But as you know, if the channel grows and I get like 1 subscriber, then I'd probably check daily, just in case that 1 subscriber actually comments or something, so that I can address it in the next episode. And yeah, that means that we can kind of carry a conversation. Not really, but a very elongated conversation at least. Right, I was trying to make a point. My setup is very limited. I've got a microphone and some stuff the microphone is attached to. Then I got a tiny box that attaches my microphone to the computer. I could, in principle, bring the microphone and the tiny box, the long cord, and then the thing to plug it's just a USB-C from the box to the computer. And so I could bring that on vacation with me. I'm hoping to do that. But at the same time, I will be going on a short vacation with my family where I won't be alone at any given time. So maybe I'll do a short hiatus there. It's only going to be a weekend, I think. But I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to do this, because I really do want to do daily episodes. I feel like that's what's going to keep me going. If I stop doing these things daily, then I'm going to end up stopping completely. If I take a month off in order to spend time in Canada, I'm not going to get back into it. I'm going to return and I'm going to feel insecure and uncertain, and then I'm just going to give up. I know myself well enough that these things would happen, and so I gotta fight to make sure they don't. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good plan, to bring the microphone and then just do a short hiatus when I go on vacation with my family. Because at this rate, I'll be producing 365 videos a year. We can do with 360 videos, right? I feel like we've got it covered. No one's gonna be missing anything. And yeah, back again to the whole I don't have any subscribers thing. So, I mean, if you're listening to this and you haven't subscribed, liked, and commented, please do so. It would support me tremendously. Honestly, just one view from a unique viewer would make my day. Because in the end, even though I try to make the podcast about everybody, it's about me too. I'm important too. And so I would like to feel that sensation of getting a like, someone commenting and giving me something to talk about. Because even though I can keep rambling, it's not that fun. It would be so much more entertaining for both you and me if this was more of a community thing where I interacted with someone. Answered questions, people gave me something to talk about, all those kinds of things. But that is something, let's hope that's something that's going to happen relatively soon, but not too soon after all. It's been fun talking to you, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, the typical YouTube things. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye now.